Hello everyone, welcome back to Step Logic. This is the second video. On this video, I'm going to talk about a more advanced level on the step logic, which is that in the subroutines. So if we apply the step logic in a large-scale project, and the part we designed with the step logic may not be needed to run all the time, right? So that's very likely scenario. So the part of logic you design with step doesn't need to be run, right, all the time, right? So in order to improve the efficiency of your system, it's better to design your step logic into a subroutine. Then you just need to use the JSR to call the subroutine when the time needed to run the step logic, right? But that presents a challenge. So that the challenge is has 2 points, right? So first, in the subroutine, once the steps are done, how do you terminate the JSR from the caller routine? Right. So if you look at the basic design with the step logic, it relies on the PLC controller constantly scan the steps. But when you have JSR and you call the subroutine, then how do you get the step logic to indicate the logic is done, so you don't have to call the subroutine again? So that's the part you have to pass from the subroutine to the caller. Right. Second challenge, once the caller got the indicator, right, so it will not call the subroutine again. So your subroutine will put on the side, right? So the scan for the logic will stop. So if it stops, remember that the reset of the steps is very crucial. If you don't have a reset, your logic will not be able to run for the second time. You only can run that for the first time, right? So you have to reset it at the end of your first pass when you finish the subroutine. So that's why over here I gave you the solution. So on this solution, on the right hand side, you can see here we add a new indicator called step end. So I continue to use the 3-step example, right? We have step 1, 2, 3, similar to before we designed that, but we also have a step end. When we have the step 3 finished, we want to enlarge the step end. This step end is a indicator for the caller, right? In the same time, you can see before on here, before according to the formula that should be the step 3, but now we change to step end. In a moment you will see why. Right? So we should change it to step end. That's the first part. Then we add a jump to label. Over here, when step 3 reached, we energize the step end. In the same time, we jump back to the beginning of your step logic to run your steps again one more time. So this is the crucial part. So when you jump back to here, remember when step 3 is on, step n is also enlarged. That will clear step 1. And step 1 will continue on here, clear step 2. And after that will clear step 3. So this is the solution for reset. So how do we reset the steps? Right. And about the caller from the JSR, I will show you with the specific example next slide. So over here, let's just give a hypothetical example on the PBPL. So you can see here, I said It's just similar to what we have with the previous example. It's a real example, not just pretend. We use PB to control PLs, right? But we have 3 different paths, and each path has to be designed in step logic, right? Let's look at here. So the first path, we have 5 steps, right? Similar to before, PB1 to PB4, and then last one will be the PB1 again. And we want to control all the 4 PLs here. They turn on different time. You can see here it's very similar to the example I showed you before. So this is the first pass. Once we finish this part finish, we move on to the second pass. This second pass only has 4 steps, not 5 steps. And also you can see here step 1 trigger is PB2 and this is PB1. They're different triggers. And also PL1 turn on from step 1. Right? So if you're running pass number 1, PB1 will turn on PL1. But with the second pass, PB2 will turn on PL1. And so on and so forth with that. So you can see that's totally different requirement between pass 2 and pass 1. And same thing for the pass 3. So the second part is also a step logic, only 3 steps, different trigger and different output. Only PL1, PL2 are included on the pass 3. So what we do with this requirement, we design the 3 subroutines. So each subroutine will handle each part of this path. And then we call these 3 subroutines in main. Right, so that's what we will do with the subroutine. But remember, we have to follow this new format, not totally new, revised, right? So we'll have something added on top of here. So let's look at examples here. So let's look at the first one. Right. So this will be the subroutine number 1. So this will be sub number 1. So we have the starting point, the label, and subroutine 1 step end to trigger step 1. So remember we have 5 steps, right? So all the rest are exactly the same. The only difference is here at the end with step 5 we latch the step end for section 1 or subroutine 1. So this is the indicator we added within the subroutine. This indicator will be used in the main routine for the caller. Right, so the step 1 will be used in the caller to terminate the GSR. Right. And in the same time, we jump back to the beginning. Sorry about that. Then we'll run the logic one more time to clear out all the steps. It's in here. So this is the improvement we added on the regular formula. Same thing for subroutine number 2. You can see here, right? It's exactly the same thing. And this is S2 dot step end, and that is triggered by step 4 from section 2. Same thing for the section 3, subroutine 3 will have a separate label, and this will jump back at the end, and then we have different steps, and at the end we latch the step S3 dot step end. So all these step end, this one and this one, and also the S1 dot step end will be used in the main routine. All right. So let's look at the main routine. With main routine, we also design that in the step logic fashion. Right. So it's just a regular, because this is a main routine, it's being scanned all the time, so we don't have to use the revised or improved format. So this is just regular step logic, 4 steps. We'll use the SS as the trigger for the step 1. once we have the main step 1, you can see here, I'll just draw attention to here. Step 1 energized. Before we reach step 2, we will use JSR to call subroutine 1. So the first part of the logic, which is this part, will be running on here. Right? But the other two sub 2 and 3 will not run because their condition are not made yet. Right? It's waiting for 2 and 3. And then remember we have the step end within the subroutine. The step end from the subroutine 1 will use as a trigger. So once you have step 1, and then you finish step 1, subroutine 1, you move on step 2. Right? And when you have step 2 established, that will start to call the sub number 2. And when sub number 2 finished here, and that will move on to step 3. Right? So the other thing is that you can figure out step 4 as well, right? The other thing is that we have to unlatch the step end for all the 3 subroutines. Because you latch it, you have to unlatch it. So when you reach to the end of the main, you unlatch them. So you can repeat the logic again. Right? Notice here, you will ask, where's the real output? Where do we energize all the PLs? And that is being programmed in this subroutine. Right? It doesn't have any condition, it will run all the time. So let's look at the next slide for the PLs. So remember that's the 3 path requirements. Right? So that's over here. We implement the steps in the subroutines. So now we're just going to energize the 4 outputs here. But remember PL1 will be energized 3 different times. Right? In subroutine 1, we energize that from step 1 before step 2. Same thing for subroutine 2 and 3. So that's why you can see that matched to 3 different branches here. Right? So the reason for that you already understand, right? You want to avoid the double coil syndrome. Same thing for PL2. If you look at the chart, PL2 will be energized 1, 2, 3 times. So that's why we have 3 branches here. And PL3 only be energized by 2 situations. Right? So because that's here, this is 1, then this is the other one. It doesn't have PL3 here. And PL4 only be energized by subroutine 1, which is exactly at here. That's the situation here. Okay, so let me start the simulation here. Okay, step min. Let's look at here. At the beginning, all the step is clear and nothing energized, so none of the subroutine being called. Right? So you can see here, that's the condition. Only the PL is being scanned, running. Right? So let's look at from the top. We need to turn on the SS to go into step 1. So we're going to switch. So the SS will turn on. So you can see here that turn on. It has step 1 established, but subroutine 1 haven't finished yet. So you won't go into step 2 right away. Right? But in the same time, because these 2, we have the PLC is running on the subroutine number 1 right now. Right? So let me turn off the SS. Right? Even I turn it off, you can see it's still going to step 1. Right? So let's look at step subroutine 1. Step subroutine 1 will be here. So nothing energized yet, it's just waiting for PB1. Right, so for PB1, So PB1 press will go into step 1. Alright, so it's waiting for PB2 to turn on PL2. So you can see if you go down here, yeah, it's just waiting for that, right? And PB3 turn on PL3, right? Yeah, just in case you want to see what's going on with the pilot light, that's here. You can see right now this branch is true, then that's why PL3 is on. We are in subroutine 1, step 3, not into step 4. So we go back here, that's exactly what happened here. So when we press PB4, and then PL4 turn on. And then if we look at the next step, we're supposed to press PB1 to clear out all the steps, but in the same time we will latch subroutine 1 step end. PB1 press. You can see here this one being latched. It happened very quickly. You won't see that in front of your eyes, right? So you just jump back. What you see, the evidence is all the steps being cleared now. Right? So if you go back to main, now we finish step 1. Subroutine 1 already get the end. You get to the main step 2. Right? Main step 2 will trigger on here. Right? We are not calling the subroutine 1 anymore. At this moment, we are calling subroutine 2. Right? Subroutine 2 waiting for PB2 to press. So let's go back here, press PB2, turn on PL1. Right? So if you go into PL1, it's energized by subroutine 2, step 1, step 2. Right? So that's what you see on the subroutine 2. If you press PB3, PB4, and watch over here, right? Once you get to PB2, you clear out all the subroutine 2. You only leave the step end energized. So if you go back to main again, with main step, you are at the step 3 now. Right? With step 3, you're calling the subroutine 3 now. Subroutine 3 will be this. Right? So PB3 press, going to its individual steps down here. And then when I press PB3, that will reach to the end, and in the same time clear out all the steps. Right? You won't see the step 3 turn on because it happens so fast. It just jump back to here and clear out again. Right? So let me press PB3. That's what happened on here. And with main, you can see here. So now everything reached to the end. Everything is clear. Right? Nothing is running. So if you go back, go to SS, you can run the logic again and over again. All right. Okay, this is the end of the second part of the step logic.